So hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Now in today's video I want to start this new series called the chess challenges, and as you guys can see, I want you to comment your own challenges, and the challenges can be anything, and for this video I chose a challenge that was sent by one of my friends, and that challenge is to play with only increment. So we're gonna play a 5+3 blitz match, and what I have to basically do is I have to only play with the increment. So you're gonna see in a moment. um, I have to make the first move a pre-move, and then I will have 3 seconds, but I cannot go under 5 minutes. So that is the challenge. So for the first few moves are gonna be some pre-moves until we get some 20 seconds, and the idea of this challenge is to basically not have a lot of time to think. It doesn't help that my opponent is much stronger than me. I didn't play all that much blitz, to be honest, but it looks like our pre-move actually made a lot of sense. And okay, he's gonna retreat. Now we can castle. So this is the first time that I actually record something like this for YouTube, but it looks like his knight is pretty much trapped there. So I'm gonna have to make some pre-moves here. So I'm not going to talk all that much because I have to focus, obviously. But I want to open up these diagonals to be able to perhaps deliver some checks and go for some ideas in the future, maybe with the knight in, and capture the queen. I'm drawing a lot of arrows, I know, but if you have watched any of my streams, you know how it's going. So we're doing pretty good with the clock. I mean, we're basically up 20 seconds, and yeah, my opponent is actually taking his time to think. So knight f6, I'm gonna take this pawn, and I'm gonna play my knight in. So we're putting a lot of pressure. That's one thing, and I'm making him do the thinking while I maybe explain the position, maybe explain the challenge. I know I just hopped right into the challenge, but maybe that is better for the algorithm. So we're gonna capture this knight. I don't know why, but I just and for no particular reason. Maybe because this knight is a little bit stuck here, so perhaps that was one of the deciding factors. Now I could attack the pawn, but I'm gonna centralize my knight first, and then maybe play something like b3, bishop b2, rook b1, and trade off the dark square bishops. That's the plan, and we have 21 seconds. So maybe we're gonna get this challenge done um, in the first game. That would be great. So yeah, I mean, I don't see many plans for him. I'm up a pawn, and maybe he can develop the bishop, but then I'm just gonna play e4, and if he attacks my pawn, I'm just gonna play rook e1. So as I said, bishop b2. He's gonna come in, maybe he's gonna come in with a knight now. Okay, yes, but I don't care about that now. I'm actually, I would like him to take the knight, and I'm actually going to develop the queen now instead of the rook. Um, and I could, okay, he's gonna go here with the knight, but I don't know what to say about this move. I don't think it's threatening anything. Maybe he's gonna go here, but then I'm just gonna capture, and move my knight, capture. This pawn is attacked, and I don't care that I've weakened my king side. Okay. Now it's time to use our time. Let's capture and then go here. So now it's getting more intense. We're getting to the middle game. Oh, and there's the first mistake, right? But it's actually not a big mistake because luckily I captured the piece, so we're still good. We're still good. These moments can happen if I'm too relaxed, if I'm playing too much on the pre moves. These moments can happen actually, and that's why I kind of enjoy this challenge, because it makes me actually think. in advance, but also allows me to get tricked, and then maybe I lose the game because I'm in a very good position right now. That's, I mean, even if captures, and then some check here h5, we're still fine. We're still fine. I can play h4, f4, centralize my queen, and then if we trade the bishop for knight, then I'm gonna be in a much better position. Now this move forces f3. It's the only move, because if I went back with a king, it was just mate. So maybe once he captures the pawn, I can play my rook in here, and maybe somehow save the bishop. Bishop e7 actually looks pretty interesting. Maybe I could actually go in with the queen, depending on where he places his queen, but I think yeah, there's no way to stop my queen infiltrating and my rook infiltrating, but I think I want to save my bishop. So I'm gonna save my bishop first, and I'm probably gonna rotate it to a4, a very passive square, but I'm controlling this very important e8 square, so the e file will be mine for the rest of the game. And by the way, guys, I have 5 minutes and 17 seconds, and my opponent has just a minute and 20 seconds. So, just put that into perspective. So back to a4 we go. He probably has this pawn break. But again, what can I do about it? Maybe I'm gonna play h4 sometime in the future. So I'm just gonna drop my queen in here for now. Maybe he's gonna go here with the knight back to e6, and then maybe captures check, but I don't want to go down in exchange. Maybe just f4. F4 might be all right. F4, f5. I don't have a plan, and the fact that I only have technically like 15 seconds on the clock, it's actually stressing me out. Yeah, hopefully this guy is not a very player that plays very very fast, because in the end my time advantage might be decisive. So I want to go rook h1 now and play h5. Okay, b5 is not scary at the moment. What's his plan behind all of these? I don't think he had a plan. H5 is coming. Ooh, I don't think that's good. I don't think that's good. Now we're threatening mate, and I think we're gonna get mate. Yeah, we're gonna mate him actually, because if he goes back, then I just have check, and then it's mate. Or actually he has to play f6. Never mind. Okay, but he went back. Now we check him, and he has to go in the corner. What was I doing? But now it's just captures and mate. So GG's. Okay, so now we're going to analyze the games, and I'm gonna give you my thoughts on it. So as you could see, I played very fast. I basically played only with the increment time. So I started the game out with c4, the English, and my opponent responded with c5. I pre-moved g3, and he played knight c3. Of course, I pre-moved again bishop g2, and here he surprisingly played knight d4. And this is a very weird move. I mean, in this position, standard move, knight f6, maybe g7, perhaps even e6. And, there are some systems where even b6 is played, but certainly not knight d4. This is a very weird move. And here, e3 was a pre-move because I wanted, to get knight g2, knight e2. And I just wanted to get e3, so I kicked away his knight. I thought this was pretty weird, so here because he played this weird, this gave me some time to pre-move, and by move 6 I already had like 5 minutes and 20 seconds. So here he played g6, knight b2 c3, bishop g7, and now d4. And already as of move 8 I have a very good position. I have developed three of my pieces and castled and have got space in the center. So d6 by my opponent, and now d takes c5. And here, although he could have taken this pawn, now simply queen a4 check, as I said in the game, would have been very good, because after this bishop d7, you know, I've got queen a3. I was not necessarily thinking about this. Perhaps I was also thinking about simply going queen b3 and attacking this b7 pawn, because it's basically paralyzed. And if you try to defend it with the rook, that's when I come and go back to this check and take this a7 pawn instead. So with that in mind, my opponent did not take back the pawn. He played knight f6. Here I played c takes on d6, you know, just grabbing another pawn. I had to play very fast. He takes d6, and now knight into d5. Here my opponent castled, and now I took the f6 knight. Bishop takes, and now knight d4. He went back with the bishop, but now I went b3, and my plan to exchange bishops will happen, because queen e8, bishop b2, and now knight e6. Here I played rook to c1. Perhaps I should have played knight takes e6, but I didn't want to calculate too much, you know. Then no, knight takes e6, okay, bishop takes b2, and then okay, knight takes f8, bishop takes a1, knight takes g6, bishop g7, and you know, knight either f4 or h4, knight f4. I would have gotten this position, but I just didn't want to calculate it. I didn't know whether this was actually going to happen, so therefore I just played rook c1. Then this followed, you know, my opponent played knight g5. I played the queen to d2, bishop h3, as you saw in the game, and bishop takes on h3 now. Pretty big choice. I could have also again taken on b7, bishop takes on f1, bishop takes on f8, but you know, after queen takes on a8 and rook takes on f1, I mean, this is actually mate in 1, of course. I'm not gonna do that, but if after king takes, queen h1 check, king e2, I mean, this would have not been the best position, so it's actually much better that I did go for bishop takes on h3 instead. I want to quickly mention that bishop takes on b7 works, because after rook takes bishop takes on f1, you take with the rook, and now you avoid any mate, and after, you know, black moves the rook, you simply go bishop d5, and your bishop here is just way stronger, and you have a bishop and 2 pawns for a rook. So there was a way, but again, I didn't want to spend too much time, as I only had the time gained by the increment. And here bishop takes on d4 was played, and I pre-moved king g2, which is a big mistake, because now that he can just equalize after bishop captures on b2, queen captures on b2, and queen e4 check. Here f3 is forced, because if I go king g1, this is just mate. So in this position f3 was forced. Queen takes on e3 now, and now we're equal basically, and this is where it starts getting pretty interesting. Rook c to e1, queen to b6, and now bishop d7. I decided to save the bishop. Maybe rook e7 was better, but again, at this point I was down to like 10-15 seconds on the clock, and I know this sounds weird, because you know, if you watch the game, then you would have seen that I was 5 minutes and 15 seconds, but you know, the challenge. So rook a to d8 now, and bishop a4. I saved the bishop. Mission accomplished. Okay, queen c7, now queen to f6, h6 by my opponent, and h4. So these are not the most accurate moves, because my opponent also got pretty low on time. Knight h4, and sorry about that, knight h7, and queen d4. Now a6 by my opponent, and rook h1. Now I wanted to open up lines and just blow his king out. And here he played b5. I did not really understand this move. A better move definitely is queen c5, proposing, you know, a queen trade and making my queen retreat, and then maybe, you know, try to play something like knight f6, sacrificing this pawn, because in this position, if you play h5, then, I mean, it's gonna get ugly very quick, because here the engine suggests before. I would not have played before. I would have simply continued with g4, and although h takes g4, now, you know, black is actually having a very big advantage after b5. I think that h5, and somehow I could have maybe, you know, created enough chaos and could have won this position. This is actually mate in 2, by the way, guys. This is mate, but you know what I'm saying, okay? You know what I'm saying. I know I moved pretty fast because this doesn't actually matter. It didn't happen in the game, but queen c5 would have definitely been interesting. But instead we saw b5, c takes on b5, a takes on b5, and bishop takes on b5, and now I'm simply up a pawn. So g5, another huge mistake. Here maybe he could have saved the game. Again, queen c5 is an option. Another option would have been to simply go rook a8, try to attack the a2 pawn, but you know, he went for g5. I took the pawn, he took with the knight, another big mistake. And now after rook takes h6 and knight h7, this is just mate in 3. Oh, you guys saw in the game, queen g4 check, king h8, rook takes on h7, king takes on h7, and rook h1 check, mate. Here maybe he would have prolonged the game with f6, but then bishop c4 check, d5, rook g6 check. Now the engine suggests queen g7, but again, what are you going to try? If you try to run to h7, this is mate in 10. I'm not going to show it, but it's just mate in 10. And if you go to f7, this is mate in 1 actually. But you know, definitely a lost position, and I played this game pretty fast and I am pretty happy with it. So hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video, the analysis of the game. I know it was pretty quick, but hopefully you enjoyed the, you know, the concept of the video, and you're gonna, you know, drop your suggestions for me to do the other challenges. So this was the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Kowalski out.